Bantams and Pine Woods by Wallace Stevens. Read for LibriVox.org by Winston, Tharp. Chieftain Ifakan of Azcan in caftan of tan with henna heckles, halt! Damned universal cock, as if the sun was blackamoor to bear your blazing tail. Fat, 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 fat. I am the personal. Your world is you. I am my world. You 10-foot poet among inchlings, fat, begone. An inchling bristles in these pines, bristles, and points their appellation tangs, and fears not portly Azcan, nor his whoos. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Barter by Sarah Teasdale. Read for LibriVox.org by Shakira. October 2015. Life has loveliness to sell, all beautiful and splendid things, blue waves whitened on a cliff, soaring fire that sways and sings, and children's faces looking up, holding wonder like a cup. Life has loveliness to sell, music like a curve of gold, scent of pine trees in the rain, eyes that love you, arms that hold, and for your spirit's still delight, holy thoughts that star the night. Spend all you have for loveliness, buy it and never count the cost. For one white singing hour of peace, count many a year of strife well lost, and for a breath of ecstasy, give all you have been or could be. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Better Answer by Matthew Pryor. Read for LibriVox.org by Algy Pug. Dear Chloe, how blubbered is that pretty face, thy cheek all on fire, and thy hair all uncurled. Prithee quit this caprice, and, as old Falstaff says, let us e'en talk a little like folks of this world. How canst thou presume thou hast leave to destroy the beauties which Venus but lent to thy keeping? Those looks were designed to inspire love and joy. More ordinary eyes may serve people for weeping. To be vexed at a trifle or two that I writ, your judgment at once, and my passion, you wrong. You take that for fact, which will scarce be found wit. Odds life, must one swear to the truth of a song? What I speak, my fair Chloe, and what I write, shows the difference there is betwixt nature and art. I court others in verse, but I love thee in prose, and they have my whimsies, but thou hast my heart. The god of us verse men, you know, child, the sun, how after his journeys he sets up his rest. If at morning o'er earth 'tis his fancy to run, at night he reclines on his Thetis's breast. So when I am wearied with wandering all day, to thee my delight in the evening I come. No matter what beauties I saw in my way, they were but my visits, but thou art my home. Then finish, dear Chloe, this pastoral war, and let us like Horace and Lydia agree, for thou art a girl as much brighter than her, as he was a poet sublimer than me. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. On the Birth of a Child by Louis Untermeyer. Read for LibriVox.org by Algy Pug. Lo, to the battleground of life, child, you have come like a conquering shout, out of a struggle into strife, out of a darkness into doubt. Girt with the fragile armour of youth, child, you must ride into endless wars, with the sword of protest, the buckler of truth, and a banner of love to sweep the stars. About you the world's despair will surge. Into defeat you must plunge and grope. Be to the faltering an urge. Be to the hopeless years a hope. Be to the darkened world a flame. Be to its unconcern a blow. For out of its pain and tumult you came, and into its tumult and pain you go. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Burial of Robert Browning by Michael Field. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. Upon St Michael's Isle they laid him for a while, that he might feel the ocean's full embrace, and wedded be to that wide sea, the subject and the passion of his race. As Thetis from some lovely underground springing, she girds him round with lapping sound and silent space. Then, on more honour bent, she sues the firmament, and bids the hovering western clouds combine to spread their sabled amber on her lustrous brine. It might not be he should lie free forever in the soft light of the sea, for lo! One came, of step more slow than fame, stooped over him, we heard her breathe his name, and, as the light drew back, bore him across the track of the subservient waves that dare not foil that veiled, maternal figure of its spoil. Ah, where will she put by her journeying majesty? She hath left the lands of the air and sun, she will take no rest till her course be run. Follow her far, follow her fast, until at last within a narrow transept led, lo! She unwraps her face to pall her dead. 'Tis England who has travelled far, England who brings fresh splendour to her galaxy of kings. We kiss her feet, her hands, where eloquent she stands, nor dare to lead a wailful choir about the poet dumb, who is become part of the glory that her sons would bleed to save from scar, yea, hers in very deed as Runnymede or Trafalgar. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Callaghan's Hotel by Henry Lawson. Read for LibriVox.org by Gwen O'Brien. www.glenO'Brien.net. There's the same old coaching stable that was used by Cobb & Co., and the yard the coaches stood in more than 60 years ago, and the public private parlour, where they served the passing swell, was the shoeing forge and smithy up in Callaghan's Hotel. There's the same old walls and woodwork that Alvarez built to last, and the same old doors and wainscot and the windows of the past, and the same old nooks and corners where the chim-chams used to dwell, but the fan-tot stands no longer up at Callaghan's Hotel. There were memories of old days that were red instead of blue, and time of Dick the Devil and of other devils too, but perhaps they went to heaven and the angels doing well. They were always open-hearted up at Callaghan's Hotel. Then the new chum, broken-hearted, and with boots all broken too, got another pair of brooches, and they quit to see him through. And the old chum got a bottle, who was down and suffering hell, and the tucker bag went empty out of Callaghan's Hotel. And I sit and think in sorrow of the nights that I have seen, when we fought with chairs and bottles for the orange and the grain, for the peace of poor old Ireland, till they rang the breakfast bell, and the honour of old England up at Callaghan's Hotel. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Fair Stranger, a Song by John Dryden. Read for LibriVox.org by Peter Tucker. Happy and free, securely blessed, no beauty could disturb my rest. My amorous heart was in despair to find a new victorious fair. Till you, descending on our plains, with foreign force renew my chains, where now you rule without control, the mighty sovereign of my soul. Your smiles have more of conquering charms than all your native country's arms. Their troops we can expel with ease, who vanquish only when we please. But in your eyes, oh, there's the spell. Who can see them and not rebel? You make us captives by your stay, yet kill us if you go away. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Farewell, fair Armida, a song, by John Dryden, read for LibriVox.org by Peter Tucker. Farewell, fair Armida, my joy and my grief. In vain I have loved you, and hope no relief. Undone by your virtue, too strict and severe, your eyes gave me love, and you gave me despair. Now, called by my honour, I seek with content the fate which in pity you would not prevent. To languish in love were to find, by delay, a death that's more welcome the speediest way. On seas and in battles, in bullets and fire, the danger is less than in hopeless desire. My death's wound you give me, though far off I bear my fall from your sight, not to cost you a tear. But if the kind flood on a wave should convey, and under your window my body should lay, the wound on my breast, when you happen to see, you'll say with a sigh, it was given by me. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Forward by Henry Lawson. Written in 1893. Read for LibriVox.org by Son of the Exiles. Forward. It is stuffy in the steerage where the second classes sleep, for there's near 100 forward, and they're stowed away like sheep. They are travellers for the most part in a straight and honest path, but their linen's rather scanty, and there isn't any bath. Stowed away like ewes and wethers, that is shore and marked and draft. But the shearers of the shearers always seem to travel aft, in the cushioned cabins aft, with saloons and smoke rooms aft. There is sheets and best of tucker for the first salooners aft. Our beef is just like scrapings from the inside of a hide, and the spuds were pulled too early, for they're mostly green inside. But from somewhere back amidships there's a smell of cooking waft, and I'd give my earthly prospects for a real good tuck-out aft. Ham and eggs and coffee aft, say cold fowl for luncheon aft, juicy grills and toast and cutlets, tucker a la Francais aft. They feed our women separate, and they make a blessed fuss, just as if they couldn't trust 'em for to eat along with us. Just because our hands are horny and our hearts are rough with graft. But the gentlemen and ladies always dine together aft, with their ferns and mirrors aft, with their flowers and napkins aft. I'll assist you to an orange, kindly pass the sugar aft. We are shabby, rough and dirty, and our feelings out of tune, and it's hard on fellers forward that was used to go saloon. There's a broken swell among us, he is barracked, he is chaffed, and I wish at times, poor devil, for his own sake he was aft. For they'd understand him aft, he will miss the bathrooms aft. Spite of all, there's no denying that there's finer feelings aft. Last night we watched the moonlight as it spread across the sea. It is hard to make a living, said the broken swell to me. There is ups and downs, I answered, and a bitter laugh he laughed. There were brighter days and better when he always travelled aft, with his rug and Gladstone aft, with his cap and spyglass aft. A careless, roving, gay young spark has always travelled aft. There's a notice by the gangway, and it seems to come amiss, for it says that second classes aren't allowed abaft of this. And there ought to be a notice for the fellers from abaft, but the smell and dirt's a warning to the first salooners aft, with their tooth and nail brush aft, with their cuffs and collars aft, their cigars and books and papers, and their cap peaks fore and aft. I want to breathe the morning breeze that blows against the boat. For there's a swelling in my heart, a tightness in my throat. We are for'ard where there's trouble, we are for'ard where there's graft, but the men who never battle always seem to travel aft, with their dressing cases aft, with their swell pyjamas aft. Yes, the idle and the careless, they have ease and comfort aft. I feel so low and wretched as I mooch about the deck that I'm ripe for jumping over, and I wish there was a wreck. We are driven to New Zealand to be shot out over there, scarce a shilling in our pockets, nor a decent rag to wear, with the everlasting worry lest we don't get into graft. Oh, there's little left to land for if you cannot travel aft. No anxiety abaft, they'll have stuff to land with aft. There is little left to land for if you cannot travel aft. But it's grand at sea this morning, and creation almost speaks, sailing past the Bay of Islands with its pinnacles and peaks, with the sunny haze all round us and the whitecaps on the blue, and the orphan rocks and breakers. Oh, it's glorious sailing through. To the south a distant steamer, to the west a coasting craft, and we see the beauty for'ard. Can they see it better aft? Spite of opera glasses aft, but, ah well, they're brothers aft. Nature seems to draw us closer, bring us nearer, fore and aft. What's the use of being bitter? What's the use of getting mad? What's the use of being narrow just because your luck is bad? What's the blessed use of fretting like a child that wants the moon? There is broken hearts and troubles in the gilded first saloon. We are used to being shabby. We've got no overdraft. We can laugh at troubles for'ard that they couldn't laugh at aft, spite of pride and tone abaft, keeping up appearance aft. There's anxiety and worry in the breezy cabins aft. But the curse of class distinctions from our shoulders shall be hurled, and the sense of human kinship revolutionise the world. There'll be higher education for the toiling, starving clown, and the rich and educated shall be educated down. Then we all will meet amidships on this stout old earthly craft, and there won't be any friction twixt the classes fore and aft. We'll be brothers fore and aft, yes, and sisters fore and aft, when the people work together and there ain't no fore and aft. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Flaming Circle by Louis Untermeyer. Read for LibriVox.org by Shakira. Dedicated to Daniel on our 15th anniversary, October 2015. Though for 15 years you have chuffed me across the table, slept in my arms and fingered my plunging heart, I scarcely know you, we have not known each other. For all the fierce and casual contacts, something keeps us apart. Are you struggling, perhaps, in a world that I see only dimly, except as it sweeps toward the star on which I stand alone? Are we swung like two planets, compelled in our separate orbits, yet held in a flaming circle far greater than our own? Last night we were single, a radiant core of completion, surrounded by flames that embraced us but left no burns. Today we are only ourselves. We have plans and pretensions. We move in dividing streets with our small and different concerns. Merging and rending, we wait for the miracle. Meanwhile, the fire runs deeper, consuming these selves in its growth. Can this be the mystical marriage, this clash and communion, this pain of possession that frees and encircles us both? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Fragment by Adam Lindsay Gordon. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. They say that poison-sprinkled flowers are sweeter in perfume than when, untouched by deadly dew, they glowed in early bloom. They say that men, condemned to die, have quaffed the sweetened wine with higher relish than the juice of the untampered vine. They say that in the witch's song, though rude and harsh it be, there blends a wild, mysterious strain of weirdest melody. And I believe the devil's voice sinks deeper in our ear than any whisper sent from heaven, however sweet and clear. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Her Heart by John Masefield. Read for LibriVox.org by Leonard Wilson of Springfield, Ohio. Her heart is always doing lovely things, filling my wintry mind with simple flowers, playing sweet tunes on my untuned strings, delighting all my undelightful hours. She plays me like a lute what tune she will. No string in me but trembles at her touch, shakes into sacred music or is still, trembles or stops or swells. Her skill is such. And in the dusty tavern of my soul, where filthy lusts drink witches' brew for wine, her gentle hand still keeps me from the bowl, still keeps me man, saves me from being swine. All grace in me, all sweetness in my verse, is hers, is my dear girl's, and only hers. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
If You Could Hie to Kolob by W. W. Phelps. Read for LibriVox.org by Glenn O'Brien. www.glennobrien.net. If you could hie to Kolob in the twinkling of an eye, and then continue onward with that same sea to fly, do you think that you could ever, for all eternity, find out the generation where gods began to be? Or see the great beginning where space did not extend? Or view the vast creation where gods will never end? Methinks the spirit whispers, no man has found pure space, nor seen the outside currents where nothing has a place. The works of God continue, and worlds and lives abound. Improvement and progression have one eternal round. There is no end to matter, there is no end to space. There is no end to spirit, there is no end to race. There is no end to virtue, there is no end to might. There is no end to wisdom, there is no end to light. There is no end to union, there is no end to youth. There is no end to priesthood, there is no end to truth. There is no end to glory, there is no end to love. There is no end to being, there is no death above. There is no end to glory, there is no end to love. There is no end to being, there is no death above. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Indian River by Wallace Stevens. Read for LibriVox.org by Winston Tharp. The trade wind jingles the rings and the nets around the racks by the docks on Indian River. It is the same jingle of the water among roots under the banks of the palmettos. It is the same jingle of the redbird breasting the orange trees out of the cedars. Yet there is no spring in Florida, neither in Boscage, Purdue, nor on the Nunnery beaches. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Infanta Marina by Wallace Stevens. Read for LibriVox.org by Winston Tharp. Her terrace was the sand and the palms and the twilight. She made of the motions of her wrist the grandiose gestures of her thought. The rumpling of the plumes of this creature of the evening came to be sleights of sails over the sea. And thus she roamed in the roamings of her fan, partaking of the sea and of the evening, as they flowed around and uttered their subsiding sound. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
In the Great Metropolis by Arthur Hugh Clough. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. Each for himself is still the rule. We learn it when we go to school. The devil take the hindmost, oh. And when the schoolboys grow to men, in life they learn it o'er again. The devil take the hindmost, oh. For in the church and at the bar, on 'Change, at court, where'er they are, the devil takes the hindmost, oh. Husband for husband, wife for wife, are careful that in married life the devil takes the hindmost, oh. From youth to age, whate'er the game, the unvarying practice is the same, the devil takes the hindmost, oh. And after death, we do not know, but scarce can doubt, where'er we go, the devil takes the hindmost, oh. Tyrol-de-roll, Tyrol-de-row, the devil take the hindmost, oh. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Sonnet II. Into the Golden Vessel of Great Song by Edna St Vincent Millay. Read for LibriVox.org by Shakira. October 2015. Into the golden vessel of great song, let us pour all our passion. Breast to breast let other lovers lie in love and rest. Not we, articulate so, but with the tongue of all the world. The churning blood, the long shuddering quiet, the desperate hot palms pressed sharply together upon the escaping guest. The common soul, unguarded and grown strong. Longing alone is singer to the lute. Let still on nettles in the open sigh the minstrel, that in slumber is as mute as any man, and love be far and high, that else forsakes the topmost branch, a fruit found on the ground by every passer-by. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Kraken by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Read for LibriVox.org by Tony Addison. Below the thunders of the upper deep, far, far beneath in the abysmal sea, his ancient, dreamless, uninvaded sleep, the Kraken sleepeth. Faintest sunlights flee about his shadowy sides. Above him swell huge sponges of millennial growth and height. And far away into the sickly light, from many a wondrous grot and secret cell, unnumbered and enormous polypi winnow with giant fins the slumbering green. There, hath he lain for ages, and will lie, battening upon huge sea worms in his sleep, until the latter fire shall heat the deep. Then once by men and angels to be seen, in roaring he shall rise, and on the surface die. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Lay of the Golden Goose by Louisa May Alcott, read for LibriVox.org by Becca Maggie. Long ago in a poultry yard one dull November morn, beneath a motherly soft wing a little goose was born, who straightway peeped out of the shell to view the world beyond, longing at once to sally forth and paddle on the pond. "Oh, be not rash," her father said, a mild Socratic bird. Her mother begged her not to stray, with many a warning word. But little goosey was perverse, and eagerly did cry, "I've got a lovely pair of wings, of course I ought to fly." In vain parental cacklings, in vain the cold sky's frown. Ambitious goosey tried to soar, but always tumbled down. The farmyard jeered at her attempts. The peacock screamed, "Oh, fie! You're only a domestic goose, so don't pretend to fly." Great cockadoodle from his perch crowed daily loud and clear, "Stay in the puddle, foolish bird, that is your proper sphere." The ducks and hens said one and all, in gossip by the pool, "Our children never play such pranks. My dear, that fowl's a fool." The owls came out and flew about, hooting above the rest, "No useful egg was ever hatched from transcendental nest." Good little gooselings at their play, and well-conducted chicks, were taught to think poor goosey's flights were naughty, ill-bred tricks. They were content to swim and scratch, and not at all inclined for any wild goose chase in search of something undefined. Hard times she had, as one may guess, that young aspiring bird, who still from every fall arose, saddened but undeterred. She knew she was not a nightingale, yet, spite of much abuse, she longed to help and cheer the world, although a plain grey goose. She could not sing, she could not fly, nor even walk with grace, and all the farmyard had declared a puddle was her place. But something stronger than herself would cry, "Go on, go on! Remember, though an humble fowl, you're cousin to a swan." So up and down poor goosey went, a busy, hopeful bird, searched many wide, unfruitful fields, and many waters stirred. At length she came unto a stream most fertile of all Niles, where tuneful birds might soar and sing among the leafy isles. Here did she build a little nest beside the water still, where the parental goose could rest, unvexed by any bill. And here she paused to smooth her plumes, ruffled by many plagues, when suddenly arose the cry, "This goose lays golden eggs!" At once the farmyard was agog, the ducks began to quack, prim guinea fowls, relenting, called, "Come back, come back, come back!" Great Chanticleer was pleased to give a patronizing crow, and the contemptuous biddies chuckled, "I wish my chicks did so." The peacocks spread their shining tails, and cried in accents soft, "We want to know you, gifted one, come up and sit aloft." Wise owls awoke and gravely said, with proudly swelling breasts, "Rare birds have always been evoked from transcendental nests." News-hunting turkeys from afar now ran with all thin legs to gobble facts and fictions of the goose with golden eggs. But best of all the little fowls, still playing on the shore, soft downy chicks and gooselings gay chirped out, "Dear goose, lay more." But goosey all these weary years had toiled like any ant, and wearied out she now replied, "My little dears, I can't. When I was starving, half this corn had been of vital use. Now I am surfeited with food like any Strasbourg goose." So, to escape too many friends, without uncivil strife, she ran to the Atlantic pond and paddled for her life. Soon up among the grand old Alps she found two blessed things, the health she had so nearly lost, and rest for weary limbs. But still across the briny deep, crouched in most friendly words, came prayers for letters, tales, or verse from literary birds. Whereat the renovated fowl, with grateful thanks profuse, took from her wing a quill and wrote this lay of a golden goose. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Life by Charlotte Bronte. Read for LibriVox by Becca Maggie. Life, believe, is not a dream so dark as sages say. Oft a little morning rain foretells a pleasant day. Sometimes there are clouds of gloom, but these are transient all. If the shower will make the roses bloom, oh, why lament its fall? Rapidly, merrily, life's sunny hours flit by. Gratefully, cheerily enjoy them as they fly. What though death at times steps in and calls our best away? What though sorrow seems to win o'er hope a heavy sway? Yet hope again elastic springs, unconquered though she fell. Still buoyant are her golden wings, still strong to bear us well. Manfully, fearlessly the day of trial bear, for gloriously, victoriously can courage quell despair. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. A Little Grey Curl by Louisa May Alcott. Read for LibriVox by Becca Maggie. A little grey curl from my father's head I find unburned on the hearth, and give it a place in my diary here with a feeling of half sadness, half mirth. For the long white locks are our special pride, though he smiles at his daughter's praise. But oh, they have grown each year more thin, till they are now but a silvery haze. That wise old head, though it does grow bald with the knocks hard fortune may give, has a store of faith and hope and trust, which have taught him how to live. Though the hat be old, there's a face below which telleth to those who look the history of a good man's life, and it cheers like a blessed book. A peddler of jewels, of clocks, and of books, many a year of his wandering youth. A peddler still, with a far richer pack, his wares are wisdom and love and truth. But now, as then, few purchase or pause, for he cannot learn the tricks of trade. Little silver he wins, but that which time is sprinkling thick on his meek old head. But there'll come a day when the busy world, grown sick with its folly and pride, will remember the mild-faced peddler then, whom it rudely had set aside. Will remember the wares he offered it once, and will seek to find him again, eager to purchase truth, wisdom, and love. But oh, it will seek him in vain. It will find but his footsteps left behind along the byways of life, where he patiently walked, striving the while to quiet its tumult and strife. But the peddling pilgrim has laid down his pack and gone with his earnings away. How small they will seem, remembering the debt which the world too late would repay. God bless the dear head, and crown it with years untroubled and calmly serene, that the autumn of life more golden may be for the heats and the storms that have been. My heritage none can ever dispute, my fortune will bring neither strife nor care. 'Tis an honest name, 'tis a beautiful life, and the silver lock of my father's hair. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
October by Edward Thomas. Read for LibriVox.org by Livia. The green elm with the one great bough of gold lets leaves into the grass slip one by one. The short hills grass, the mushrooms small milk white, herbil and scabious and tormentil, that blackberry and ghost in the dew and sun bow down to, and the wind travels too light to shake the fallen birch leaves from the fern. The gossames wander at their own will. At heavier steps than birds the squirrels scold. The rich scene has grown fresh again and new as spring, and the touch is not more cool than it is warm to the gaze. And now I might as happy be as earth is beautiful, were I some other or which earth could turn in alternation of violet and rose, harebell and snowdrop at their season due, and ghost that has no time not to be gay. But if this be not happiness, who knows? Some day I shall sing this a happy day, and this mood by the name of melancholy shall no more blackened and obscured be. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Old Man by Edward Thomas. Read for LibriVox.org by Tony Addison. Old man or lad's love, in the name there's nothing to one that knows not lad's love or old man. The hoar green feathery herb, almost a tree, growing with rosemary and lavender. Even to one that knows it well, the names half decorate, half perplex the thing it is. At least what that is clings not to the names, in spite of time. And yet I like the names. The herb itself I like not, but for certain I love it, as some day the child will love it, who plucks a feather from the doorside bush whenever she goes in or out of the house. Often she waits there, snipping the tips and shrivelling the shreds at last onto the path, perhaps thinking, perhaps of nothing, till she snips her fingers and runs off. The bush is still but half as tall as she, though it is as old. So well she clips it. Not a word she says, and I can only wonder how much hereafter she will remember, with that bitter scent of garden rose and ancient damson trees topping a hedge, a bent path to a door, a low thick bush beside the door, and me forbidding her to pick. As for myself, where first I met the bitter scent is lost. I too often shrivel the grey shreds, snip them and think and snip again, and try once more to think what it is I am remembering, always in vain. I cannot like the scent, yet I would rather give up others more sweet, with no meaning, than this bitter one. I have mislaid the key. I sniff the spray and think of nothing. I see and I hear nothing, yet seem too to be listening, lying in wait for what I should, yet never can, remember. No garden appears, no path, no whole green bush of lad's love, or old man, no child beside, neither father nor mother, nor any playmate, only an avenue, dark, nameless, without end. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
On My First Daughter by Ben Jonson. Read for LibriVox.org by Leni. Here lies to each her parents' ruth, Mary, the daughter of their youth. Yet, all heaven's gifts being heaven's due, it makes the father less to rue. At 6 months' end she parted hence, with safety of her innocence, whose soul heaven's screen, whose name she bears, in comfort of her mother's tears, hath placed amongst her virgin train, where, while that severed does remain, this grave partakes the fleshly birth, which cover lightly gentle earth. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The People's Anthem by Ebenezer Elliott. Read for LibriVox.org by LisaRubio, San Rafael, California. When wilt thou save the people, O God of mercy? When? Not kings and lords, but nations. Not thrones and crowns, but men. Flowers of thy heart, O God, they are. Let them not pass like weeds away. Their heritage a sunless day. God, save the people. Shall crime bring crime forever, strength aiding still the strong? Is it thy will, O Father, that man shall toil for wrong? No, say thy mountains, no, thy skies. Man's clouded sun shall brightly rise, and songs be heard instead of sighs. God, save the people. When wilt thou save the people, O God of mercy? When? The people, Lord, the people. Not thrones and crowns, but men. God, save the people. Thine they are, thy children as thy angels fair. Save them from bondage and despair. God, save the people. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Potter's Clay, an allegorical interlude by Adam Lindsay Gordon. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. Nec propter, vitam vivendi, perdere causus. Though the pitcher that goes to the sparkling rill too oft gets broken at last, there are scores of others its place to fill, when its earth to the earth is cast. Keep that pitcher at home, let it never roam, but lie like a useless clod. Yet sooner or later the hour will come when its chips are thrown to the sod. Is it wise, then, say in the waning day, when the vessel is cracked and old, to cherish the battered potter's clay, as though it were virgin gold? Take care of yourself, dull, boorish elf, though prudent and safe you seem. Your pitcher will break on the musty shelf, and mine by the dazzling stream. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Solitude by John Keats. Read for LibriVox.org by Algy Pug. O solitude, if I must with thee dwell, let it not be among the jumbled heap of murky buildings. Climb with me the steep, Nature's observatory, whence the dell, its flowery slopes, its river's crystal swell, may seem a span. Let me thy vigils keep 'mongst boughs pavilioned, where the deer's swift leap startles the wild bee from the foxglove bell. But though I'll gladly trace these scenes with thee, yet the sweet converse of an innocent mind, whose words are images of thoughts refined, is my soul's pleasure, and it sure must be almost the highest bliss of humankind, when to thy haunts two kindred spirits flee. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Song for St Cecilia's Day, 22nd November 1687, by John Dryden. Read for LibriVox.org by Peter Tucker. 1. From harmony, from heavenly harmony, this universal frame began, when nature underneath a heap of jarring atoms lay, and could not heave her head, the tuneful voice was heard from high, Arise, ye more than dead. Then cold and hot and moist and dry in order to their stations leap, and music's power obey. From harmony, from heavenly harmony, this universal frame began. From harmony to harmony, through all the compass of the notes it ran, the diapason closing full in man. 2. What passion cannot music raise and quell? When Jubal struck the chorded shell, his listening brethren stood around, and wondering on their faces fell to worship that celestial sound. Less than a god they thought there could not dwell within the hollow of that shell, that spoke so sweetly and so well. What passion cannot music raise and quell? 3. The trumpet's loud clangour excites us to arms, with shrill notes of anger and mortal alarms. The double, double, double beat of the thundering drum cries, "Hark! The foes come! Charge, charge! 'Tis too late to retreat." 4. The soft complaining flute in dying notes discovers the woes of hopeless lovers, whose dirge is whispered by the warbling lute. 5. Sharp violins proclaim their jealous pangs and desperation, fury, frantic indignation, depth of pains and height of passion for the fair disdainful dame. 6. But oh, what art can teach, what human voice can reach, the sacred organ's praise, notes inspiring holy love, notes that wing their heavenly ways to mend the choirs above. 7. Orpheus could lead the savage race, and trees uprooted left their place sequacious of the lyre, but bright Cecilia raised the wonder higher. When to her organ vocal breath was given, an angel heard, and straight appeared, mistaking earth for heaven. Grand Chorus. As from the power of sacred lays the spheres began to move, and sung the great Creator's praise to all the blessed above, so when the last and dreadful hour this crumbling pageant shall devour, the trumpet shall be heard on high, the dead shall live, the living die, and music shall untune the sky. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Song of the Surf by Adam Lindsay Gordon. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. White steeds of ocean that leap with a hollow and wearisome roar on the bar of ironstone steep, not a fathom's length from the shore. Is there never a seer nor sophist can interpret your wild refrain, when speech the harshest and roughest is seldom studied in vain? My ears are constantly smitten by that dreary monotone. In a hieroglyphic 'tis written, 'tis spoken in a tongue unknown, gathering, growing, and swelling, and surging, and shivering. Say, what is the tale you are telling? What is the drift of your lay? You come, and your crests are hoary with the foam of your countless years. You break with a rainbow of glory through the spray of your glittering tears. Is your song a song of gladness, a paean of joyous might, or a wail of discordant sadness for the wrongs you never can right? For the empty seat by the ingle, for children reft of their sire, for the bride sitting sad and single and pale by the flickering fire, for your ravenous pools of suction, for your shattering billow swell, for your ceaseless work of destruction, for your hunger insatiable. Not far from this very place, on the sand and the shingle dry, he lay with his battered face upturned to the frowning sky. When your waters washed and swilled high over his drowning head, when his nostrils and lungs were filled, when his feet and hands were as lead, when against the rock he was hurled and sucked again to the sea, on the shores of another world, on the brink of eternity, on the verge of annihilation, did it come to that swimmer strong, the sudden interpretation of your mystical, weird-like song. Mortal, that which thou askest, ask not thou of the waves. Fool, thou foolishly taskest us, we are only slaves. Might, more mighty, impels us, we must our lot fulfill. He who gathers and swells us, curbs us too, at his will. Thinkest thou the wave that shatters questioneth his decree? Little to us it matters, and naught it matters to thee. Not thus, murmuring idly, we from our duty would swerve. Over the world spread widely, ever we labor and serve. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Sonnet V by Fernando Pessoa, read for LibriVox.org by Leni. How can I think or edge my thoughts to action when the miserly press of each day's need aches to a narrowness of spilled distraction, my soul appalled at the world's work's time greed? How can I pause my thoughts upon the task my soul was born to think that it must do, when every moment has a thought to ask, to fit the immediate craving of its cue? The coin I'd heap for marrying my muse, and build our home in greater time to be, becomes dissolved by needs of each day's use, and I feel beggared of infinity. Like a true Christian sinner, each day flesh-driven by his own act to forfeit his wished heaven. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Soul's Prayer by Sarojini Naidu. Read for LibriVox.org by Isaiah Barker of Binghamton, New York. In childhood's pride I said to thee, O thou who madest me of thy breath, speak, Master, and reveal to me thine inmost laws of life and death. Give me to drink each joy and pain which thine eternal hand can meet, for my insatiate soul can drain earth's utmost bitter, utmost sweet. Spare me no bliss, no pang of strife, withhold no gift or grief I crave, the intricate lore of love and life, and mystic knowledge of the grave. Lord, thou didst answer stern and low, Child, I will hearken to thy prayer, and thy unconquered soul shall know all passionate rapture and despair. Thou shalt drink deep of joy and fame, and love shall burn thee like a fire, and pain shall cleanse thee like a flame, to purge the dross from thy desire. So shall thy chastened spirit yearn, to seek from its blind prayer release, and spent in pardon due to learn the simple secret of my peace. I, bending from my sevenfold height, will teach thee of my quickening grace. Life is a prism of my light, and death the shadow of my face. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Nocturnal upon St. Lucy's Day by John Donne. Read for LibriVox.org by Tony Addison. A nocturnal upon St. Lucy's Day, being the shortest day. 'Tis the year's midnight, and it is the day's, Lucy's, who scarce 7 hours herself unmasks. The sun is spent, and now his flasks send forth light squibs, no constant rays. The world's whole sap is sunk, the general balm the hydroptic earth hath drunk, whither as to the bed's feet life is shrunk. Dead, and interred. Yet all these seem to laugh, compared with me, who am their epitaph. Study me then, you who shall lovers be at the next world, that is at the next spring, for I am every dead thing, in whom love wrought new alchemy. For his art did express a quintessence even from nothingness, from dull privations and lean emptiness. He ruined me, and I am re-begot of absence, darkness, death, things which are not. All others from all things draw all that's good, life, soul, form, spirit, whence they being have. I, by love's limbeck, am the grave of all that's nothing. Oft a flood have we two wept, and so drowned the whole world, us two. Oft did we grow to be two chaoses, when we did show care to aught else, and often absences withdrew our souls, and made us carcasses. But I am by her death, which word wrongs her, of the first nothing the elixir grown. Were I a man, that I were one, I needs must know. I should prefer, if I were any beast, some ends, some means. Yea, plants, yea, stones detest and love, all some properties invest. If I an ordinary nothing were, as shadow, a light and body must be here, but I am none. Nor will my sun renew. You lovers, for whose sake the lesser sun at this time to the goat is run, to fetch new lust and give it you, enjoy your summer all. Since she enjoys a long night's festival, let me prepare toward her, and let me call this hour her vigil and her eve, since this both the years and the days deep midnight is. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Three Kingdoms of Nature by Gotthold Ephraim Lessing, 1729 to 1781. Read for LibriVox.org. I sought, while drinking, to unfold Why nature's kingdoms are threefold. Both man and beast, they drink and love As each is lifted from above. The dolphin, eagle, dog, and flea, In that they love and drink agree. In all that drink and love then we The first of these three kingdoms see. The plants the second kingdom are, But lower in creation far. They do not love, but yet they drink, When dripping clouds upon them sink. Thus drinks the clover, thus the pine, Thus the aloe tree, the branching vine. In all that drink, but love not, we The second of these kingdoms see. The stony kingdom is the last. Here diamonds with sand are clasped. No stone feels thirst or soft desires, No love, no draught its bosom fires. In all that drink not, love not, we The last of these three kingdoms see. For without love or wine, now own, What would thou be, O man? A stone. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Traveller by Arthur Gitterman. Read for LibriVox.org by Leonard Wilson of Springfield, Ohio. Oh, who would choose to be a traveller, that anxious railway guide unraveller, who spends his nights in berths and bunks, his days in chaperoning trunks, who stands in line at gates and wickets to spend his means on costly tickets to Irkutsk, Liverpool, and Yap, and other dots upon the map. He never rests, but always hurries from place to place, beset with worries about hotels and future trips, and just how much to give in tips. He plods through galleries, museums, cathedrals, castles, coliseums, and villages reputed quaint, with patience worthy of a saint, to give his friends the chance of hooting, "You didn't visit Little Tooting." End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Trysting Time by Confucius. Translation by C.E.R. Allen, 1891. Read for LibriVox.org by Isaiah Barker of Binghamton, New York. A pretty girl at time o' gloaming hath whispered me to go and meet her without the city gate. I love her, but she tarries coming. Shall I return, or stay and greet her? I burn and wait. Truly she charmeth all behooders. 'Tis she hath given me this jewel, the jade of my delight. But this red jewel jade that smoulders to my desire doth add more fuel, new charms to-night. She hath gathered with her lily fingers a lily fair and rare to see. Oh, sweeter still the fragrance lingers from the warm hand that gave it me. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Valgavin's Boat Song by Lawrence Hope. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. Waters glisten and sunbeams quiver, the wind blows fresh and free. Take my boat to your breast, O river, carry me out to sea. This land is laden with fruit and grain, with never a place left free for flowers. A fruitful mother, but I am fain for brides in their early bridal hours. Take my boat to your breast, O river, carry me out to sea. The sea, beloved by 1,000 ships, is maiden ever, and fresh and free. Ah, for the touch of her cool green lips, carry me out to sea. Take my boat to your breast, dear river, and carry it out to sea. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
When I Was a Boy by Eugene Field. Read for LibriVox.org by Leonard Wilson of Springfield, Ohio. Up in the attic where I slept when I was a boy, a little boy, in through the lattice the moonlight crept, bringing a tide of dreams that swept over the low red trundle bed, bathing the tangled curly head, while moonbeams played at hide and seek with the dimples on the sun-browned cheek. When I was a boy, a little boy. And oh, the dreams I dreamed when I was a boy, a little boy. For the grace that through the lattice streamed over my folded eyelids seemed to have the gift of prophecy, and to bring me glimpses of times to be, when manhood's clarion seemed to call. Ah, that was the sweetest dream of all, when I was a boy, a little boy. I'd like to sleep where I used to sleep when I was a boy, a little boy. For in at the lattice the moon would peep, bringing her tide of dreams to sweep the crosses and griefs of the years away from the heart that is weary and faint to-day. And those dreams should give me back again a peace I have never known since then. when I was a boy, a little boy. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Words of Faith by Johann Christoph Friedrich von Schiller. Read for LibriVox.org. The Words of Faith. I will mention 3 words of sense profound. From lip unto lip do they fly, yet they live not in vague external sound. In each heart doth the oracle lie. Man's intrinsic worth is for ever veiled o'er, when in these 3 words he believes no more. Each man is created a being free, though born in vile slavery's chain. May the tones of the crowd allure not thee, ere the voice of the fool disdain. Tremble not at the slave who rendeth his band, and before freedom's sun undauntedly stand. Virtue is not a re-echoing tone. Virtue reigns each lawless desire. Though life's path be arduous, rugged, and lone, to the godlike should man aspire. What the lore of philosophers ne'er unfolds, the pure eye of innocence clearly beholds. God exists, the immutable and sublime. Man's statutes, like chaff, pass away. God reigns o'er space, o'er eternity, time, with omnipotent, boundless sway. Though the spheres in ever-changing circles may roll, one calm, changeless spirit directeth the whole. In these words let thy soul have faith profound. May they echo from race to race. From thy heart's recess wilt thou hear the sound. In externals seek not their trace. Man's value intrinsic is ever veiled o'er, when the words of faith he believes no more. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.